I knew it. There was no universe where this character did not have the ability to capture allies and release them. I knew it. It was impossible. It was literally impossible. Hello everyone, the Skilled Roy here, and just today, Tahm Kench was finally revealed. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, I am now 1 for 3 in my prediction video. Hopefully Shyvana and Soraka are next. I have a pretty good thought process that they are going to be, but otherwise though, let's just get into his cards and see what we have here. So first things first, we have Crusty Codger. It's a 1 mana 2/4 with play, deal 2 to me. Now for those of you who've played Hearthstone, this sort of design is very similar of a card called Injured Blade Master. Basically, they are high statted units that come in pre-damaged so that they are A, more vulnerable to damaging effects, and B, are more they have more benefits when you try to heal them. Now this is extremely powerful because it's sort of implied that if Soraka is coming, this is sort of like a big healing effect, right? So that's a really big payoff for it, because now you have some clear targets for healing that don't even need buffs or anything. They don't even need damage from combat. They are already coming in damaged. And so already he starts as a 1 mana 2/2, and that is perfectly serviceable. Like currently in Bilgewater we run the Butcher, who is a conditional 1 mana 3/3, so I'm pretty okay with this overall. What's really interesting here is that this card is an insane hit off of Petty Crew. So when you play it, you can play it and you can get a 2/4 because it will skip the play effect. Just a reminder, play effects only activate when you play them from hand. So anything that can sort of avoid playing them from hand is going to be very beneficial here. Now next up we have Fortune Croaker. Now this one is a 2 mana 2/3 that says play, deal 1 to it and an ally to draw 1. Now this card is bonkers to me. This card is genuinely the strongest card I've seen thus far because I think it's going right into TF Swain. TF Swain is already a tier 1 deck, and this is a card that goes right up their alley, cantrips them a card, and gets them a lot more advantage going further. This might be enough to even, perhaps, one day, consider bringing in the Grifter again. But we'll see, because I can easily see this replacing something like House Spider, for example, in the deck. But we'll see. We'll have to see as things go on, but a 2 mana 2/3 body, vanilla, is totally fine, and if it hits an ally as well and draws you a card, then it's a 2/2, that's totally fine too, because you've now drawn up. Really great stuff, I think, overall, and it really helps further the Swain level up as well. Next up, my personal favorite card image from the set, Boxtopus. I love him so much. Look at him. He's just beautiful. Actually beautiful. I love he has tattoos too. Like, just, I love the stupid octopus. 2 mana 3/4 with Challenger, pretty insane, but play, deal 3 to me. Now that means he's basically a 3/1 challenger for 2 mana, and that is pretty strong. That kills most 2-drops in the game, including really high priority targets. You can almost think of this as a Glory Seeker from Noxus, but now it can even deblock for the cost of 2 attack. Now on top of that, it also has synergies with heal effects, like I said, as well as any other possible way to resummon him or cheat him out without playing him normally. Unlike Crusty Codger, who has a very obvious way with Petty Crew, Boxtopus does not have that. But yeah, next up we have Slaughterdocs, the Bilgewater landmark. Landmarks are the new cards we just got this set. Landmarks take up a board spot on your board and typically, at least from what we've seen, have a round start effect or a passive effect every turn. In this case, it's toss 1, and then after you've tossed 1, if you are deep, destroy it to summon a random sea monster. That is huge. That is really, really good because you can get something insane, but one thing to keep in mind here, it will only activate on the round start. So even if you go deep on, say, turn 4, it will have to be on the round start of round 5 when you get that sea monster, at least from how I understand the card effect. I could be completely wrong on that, so please don't hold that against me if I got that wrong, because that's just how I'm reading it. So yeah, pretty solid overall. And next up we have Lounging Lizard, 3 mana 3/5, round start, deal 2 to me, and it has Elusive built in. Very spooky card. This card is sleeper good. And the reason why I say that is because I feel like this card could be a sort of standalone type of deck, but instead with Braum's Take Heart. Basically, instead of running it into the Ionia Demacia package, you're going to be going into a Bilgewater elusive deck with self-damaging buffs, such as the Take Heart I mentioned earlier with Braum, which is really, really powerful. Now, next up we have Crumble. This is the last SI card we're getting this expansion, and it says kill an ally to kill a unit or destroy a landmark. Now, one thing to keep in mind here, guys, is that landmarks are actually units. The landmark cards cannot be attacked because they do not have health. They cannot be challenged because, again, they aren't actually units, but instead they have to be targeted with specific removal abilities. So in this case, Crumble is one of them. Now, this is actually not a bad idea. It makes a lot of sense to me. Like, Vengeance is decent at 7 mana, fast speed. So how much would you cost a kill anything spell at slow speed. Probably 6 mana, right? So 5 mana with a conditional one is probably fair. I'll have to see how this plays. It's not super exciting, but I could see it happening. Now, next up we have sunk costs. Shuffle a unit or a landmark back into its deck. Now that seems to me actually quite decent. Deep occasionally ran cards like Vengeance before, and this doesn't seem too much further out of their ballpark, considering landmarks might be really good against them since they lack interaction. So we'll see if this is something that they might run again, but both of these cards, both Crumble and Sunk Cost, both seem like cards that I could hypothetically see being run in Deep. Which is really nice, because one thing I think a lot of people were scared of is that when new cards come out, they'll only care about the new cards. And this is them proving that no, we'll actually still support older archetypes, no problem. Like these are arguably 2 very solid Deep cards. The Croaker is probably mostly a Swain TF card. Like the Lounging Lizard's a new archetype entirely. Like I feel like there's a bunch of really great stuff they're doing here, and that's really, really awesome. And now we have Tahm Kench, incredible card. I'm so happy this card came out. 4 mana, 2/6, round start, create an acquired taste in hand. And his level up is I've captured 3+ units. When he levels up, he eats all the units, aka he obliterates them, and he releases all of your allies. His level up is the same thing. He still gets the acquired taste into his hand, and when he attacks, he obliterates captured enemies and releases the allies. I really wish he released the allies attacking. That's personally what I would have preferred, but whatever. An acquired taste is this though. It is a 2 mana. Tahm Kench swallows an enemy unit if it strikes him, and then he captures it. So this means he can't like eat something way further above his own power level, basically, but it still allows him to have consistent, repeatable removal, especially on smaller backline priority targets. This means he can absolutely decimate any sort of small units that the opponent is trying to play against you. They can decimate any of the last breath cards you really don't want them to get hit by. Like, just really, really powerful. And all this on top of a 2/6 body. Absolutely incredible, I think. Now, on top of that, his signature spell is Brunch, I guess is technically what it's called. An ally captures another ally and gains that captured ally stats. This is so cool. I love this effect a lot, and it works so well with Tahm Kench's minions too. Because when Tahm Kench enters the board and you use this to capture one of the damaged units we just talked about, when he captures them, remember, they are damaged units, but they actually have obscenely high stat totals. The 1-drop is a 2/4, so this is essentially capturing the 2/4, and then you get to keep that 2/4 stats on Tahm. So then he becomes a 4/10. He becomes a 4/10. It's insane. It's actually crazy. Now, let's keep things in mind even further here, that if you even try to kill Tahm, that 2/4 is popping out at its full stats, because remember, it didn't get played, so now it's back at its full default stats. And that's the same for the Challenger, that's the same for all of his units that self-damage. It's crazy, really cool stuff there. Now we also have Wise Fry here, 6 mana, 3/8, play, deal 1 damage to all other allies, and grant me +1/+0 for each of them. That is a really spicy card. Now, it does have vulnerable though, but with a total of 8 health and that much attack, presumably, it's going to be hard as hell to try to fight that thing properly. That's kind of crazy. And then of course we have Shakedown. Deal 2 damage to an ally to grant 2 allies vulnerable. That is actually pretty good. That is, I think, like basically conditionally way better on guard from Demacia. I feel like this actually could see a lot of play in a lot of different variations. Immediately the thing that comes to my mind is Undying. Undying already used a lot of Invulnerable, but now you can use the 2 damage to kill your own Undying or get it low enough in health so that it can trade into the opponent and then kill them both. This is actually surprisingly like a great card. I'm actually really impressed with this card, and I feel like this is exactly what the deck really needed. Overall, what are my thoughts on the Tahm Kench reveal? Super flavorful card. I love a lot of him so much already. There's so much unique, like sort of small angles where it connects him to other existing parts in the game already, and I feel like that is like really, really nice, and it really shows how much they care about the design process of this game. Where do I think this is going to sort of end up? I think the main one off the top of my head is going to be Targon. Very obviously, they usually like to make the new champions work with the new region, and I feel like Targon is an obvious one because of how much damage all of his units take and how much damage he's going to be ending up taking. I think that's purely signaling to Soraka, and if you haven't seen my video on that, please go see that now. You could also run him hypothetically in Demacia to use the capture effects, because that is the only other place you can get capture right now is through the card Detain. In which case that's not bad either, because Demacia typically has a lot of really high powered stats, but the thing that's really interesting here though, if you use Bio Brunch on any of the units that have temporary attack bonuses, assumedly get to keep it. So I'm really interested in that. Of course, I think the last one, of course, is the self-damage themes of Noxus and Freljord. They already take a lot of self-damage themselves, but now you can hypothetically even play and level up Vladimir on curve, which is pretty crazy indeed. We'll have to see exactly just how that works out, but I think that's a pretty good concept right off the bat. Yeah, I think that's my general take on that one. And I am really impressed with Bilgewater's offerings this time around. All these cards are something I could legitimately see being played in some extent. The only conditional ones I'm just really fascinated by are things like Wisefry, because I just want to see how it works, and I want to see just how decent it could be. But overall, the card just seems really good. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I will be heading out for now. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you want to go ahead and like, subscribe, leave a comment for the algorithm, you know, all that stuff. I'm sorry, I gotta do it. You know, I'm sorry. But anyways, thank you so much for watching. I will talk to you guys next time. Peace out.